My fellow Amazonians, this is Dr. Cho Ayaba. Today is Tuesday, the 16th of July 2024, and this is my daily briefing to the Amazonian people. I do these briefings so you are not confused by the noise. And so we are all on the same page about where we are, where we are going, and the opportunities and difficulties that we are facing or we may face. And so these briefings are important. And I hope that each time you listen to me, some of the questions you have, some of the worries you have, that my outings can help you answer those questions or to clear those doubts. I just came back from the United Kingdom. I had a very wonderful time with our comrades. I had series of meetings, and those meetings were very important. Maybe not in the content of issues we discuss, but in my observations. I met a family I have never known, and I sat on the dinner table with them. I could feel passion. They asked me a series of questions. And from those questions, you could capture worries and anticipation. But you could also capture conviction. Why I'm giving you these experiences is because the noise outside have the potential in clouding the way you think, what you believe in, and how you feel. I have never really known this family, but somehow I had met them. I could not even recall. These are people who support what we do with passion. You could not only hear it, you could feel it. You've never heard them out. These are the silent majority of Amazonians who do not only believe in their independence, but who may die if we fail. I sat in another meeting of the Amazonian Governing Council. I met families, I met individuals. But I met a particular set of individuals who came into the meeting with anger, frustration. And as one said, he came to make sure nobody was going to commit. Why? He is not happy with what he is seeing. After we spoke, and we spoke frankly, we hugged each other. He was happy, they were happy, more convinced. For example, we talked about the yellow color taxi. Because most people ask the question, how does changing the color from yellow to blue and white help you gain independence? And I answered the question. I said, it's not about changing the color from yellow to blue and white giving you independence. It is how it contributes towards giving you independence. And it's about challenging the authority of the enemy. He listened and he said, exactly what I thought. Exactly what I thought. And he said it many times. This is exactly what I thought. The enemy exercises authority in the laws it makes, in its practices, in everything it does. We must reclaim that authority and give it to the Amazonian people through the civilians, to our forces. Every time we undermine their authority, we take control. They say the sky must be black. We say no, it must be blue and white. We reclaim it. They say tires must be black. We say no, it must be red. Because they do not have authority over our land. Independence is not simply taking over the land. It is also reclaiming the most important aspect of an occupying power, its authority over the land. Whether it's taxation law, they impose taxes, we undermine their ability to claim taxes through economic sabotage, through the imposition of our own taxes. They say, CEMAC number plate, who the hell are you? We say no CEMAC number plate. We exercise authority. They succumb. They keep succumbing until one day they realize they have virtually no authority over Amazonia. That is how you become independent. So these meetings were very important. These conversations were very important. And I want us to be having these conversations. And one of them said something. You can stay for 2 months and you're hoping an Amazonian forces to attack the enemy trucks, to attack the armored cars. We impose a rule and we all are fighting. You see chaos, you see quarreling. No, I don't see quarreling. I don't see chaos. I see a strong conversation. Whether you oppose it or you like, you are for it. That conversation generates a sense of Amazonian consciousness. It puts the enemy in a position of confusion to the point where they are able to organize demonstration. You imagine that? Every neighbor, every individual Amazonian, whether they like it or they don't like the policies, they are talking about it. That is how you create the groundswell of nationalism. That is how you communicate aspirations. That is how you deal with issues. You've seen fighting in parliaments. You've seen screaming in US Senate. So my people, it was an important trip and I am glad I made it. One issue which we discussed in the United Kingdom and which the Vice President of the Amazonian Governing Council had introduced as a subject matter for discussion has been how Amazonians who have acquired foreign citizenship out here can influence policies. It is not only going to be through petitioning, through deputations, through demonstrations. It is going to also be through using the power of your vote to influence policies within these countries. And so we will be adopting these as a policy to make sure that where Amazonians are concentrated, if there is a local MP, a local senator, a congressperson who is seeking election, we will introduce the Amazonian question and make sure that they can look into any aspect of that overall question. Otherwise, we will not vote for them. We will vote for any representative within that particular constituency that takes up the Amazonian question as a subject, policy, or practice matter. So we will increase our activities out here to make sure that we can also determine who sits in parliament, congresses, senate from particular constituencies by harnessing the power of our vote. So this is an important issue, and we'll have a good meeting on Saturday, which we'll discuss and clarify certain questions. We also discuss in the United Kingdom what they call class actions. The United Kingdom is a particular constituency where class actions are possible. We were briefed by one of our comrades how class actions can be used to alter policies and practices. And we will be working on this with some barristers within the United Kingdom to make sure that we open another front. You have seen how La Republic has been using fake lawyers to do international propaganda on legal questions. We will be using real lawyers to be able to attack particular practices and policies and orientations of governments, questioning their legality, their legitimacy, and their application either internationally or at domestic level. So these are things that we will be doing also out here. There are many other things that we discuss, and I will be bringing them to you subsequently. But the Amazonian struggle will be taking some decisive turns. There are ongoing discussions within particular countries, and I will allow those constituencies to communicate those discussions to all of you, the Amazonian people, in due time so that they can be emulated. I have received enough briefing on our interaction with the Biafrans, and things are going extremely very well. We are having weekly discussions on a wide range of issues, and I will keep you people briefed as things unfold, but things are on the right footing. On ground zero, our forces in the Bamenda Brigade have opened the Mbengwe Road as from today. And I know most of you have taken issues almost reaching tribalistic tone on that particular action. I want to let you people know that Amazonia is at war. And there are particular issues we cannot discuss publicly, but Cameroon has instituted a particular strategy to undermine our strongholds. You don't see them, we see them. You may not know that they have opened a particular barrack in Bui, and that barrack, we have been attacking it constantly because they use them as centers to gather intelligence, to prepare attacks, and to bring in blacklegs to provide them with information. So the Alabukam, the Mbamenda Mbengwi Road through Alabukam was closed for security reasons. La Republique had taken note of the strength of our forces within this particular area. And you can bear witness to the fact how important these forces have been. We've lost in the past years more than 30 men in this area, and we needed to take security measures, strong measures to strengthen ourselves, to strengthen that axis. And so I thank you all of you who showed understanding. It's also about authority. We closed the road and we opened the road. That is Amazonian power, and you should take pride in it. It might have cost you some inconveniences, but you can trade that for the authority of the Amazonian people. The road is open, and I will call on our citizens to make sure that they do not enable the enemy. They should report to our forces any activities that they deem is anti-liberation or attacks Amazonian nationalism. We had also issued an executive order on land sales. I read a joke from a guy who said he's going to sell his land to anyone that he wants, and I would have nothing to say about it. And I respond to such a person: selling the land is the easier part. You've already sold your conscience. So what is land to you? Those who've sold their consciences can move ahead and violate every law that we put in place. Your conscience is the barometer that you use in measuring any other action that you can undertake. Our land is under attack. It's been occupied. It's been sold. Mediating between the sellers and the buyers, colonial deals and SDUs, middlemen who claim this land for themselves. Victoria has almost been sold to La Republique by fake deals and SDUs. And so we would advise Ambazonians to be very careful. Selling of land to La Republique citizen is banned. You do that, and we will claim that land, and we will arrest you for violating liberation laws, and the buyer is going to lose both their money and the land. This is a serious issue. It's not about trying to punish anybody. It's not trying to interfere in your private land issue. It is a national security issue, and we must be very clear about it. We have been going ahead to support forces across different states to strengthen our defense capabilities, and we will continue to do so. We have been investing millions in the past weeks to make sure that we can provide support to our forces, and we've been working very hard to make sure that these forces work together. We gained a lot of strength at the beginning of our armed resistance. We had a lot of setbacks, and we've been working cautiously to rebuild confidence within the forces, clarify outstanding questions, provide the level of education, and to make sure that the actions we take, like in liberation tasks, in ensuring collaboration, sharing of intelligence, is going to undermine the in-depth corruption that also exists amongst our forces. We have instituted teams, commissions, and committees to investigate allegations on ground zero, allegations of corruption, violation of liberation laws amongst our forces. We will continue to do these things, making sure that the culture we develop today during this resistance is consistent with the culture that we want in a free and independent Ambazonia. We are not going to postpone virtue and adopt vice that will have devastating consequences at independence. Those are the things that, provide the foundation for post-independence instability. We have a pandemic on the ground, lack of electricity. My people, we have developed and will be publishing the manifesto of Amazonian independence. This manifesto does not only capture what we are fighting against, who we are fighting against, but it lays out clearly the blueprint for what we are fighting for. In one of my outings on Menchum, and I think we should be Fako, I talked about the power of harnessing Amazonian resources in area of provision of energy. Without energy, you cannot drive an economy. You cannot grow an economy. You cannot create opportunities. And Amazonia is blessed with solar power opportunities, hydro electricity power opportunities that can power not only Amazonian economy, light every household, but we can market this energy to millions of people in different countries and generate the resources that we can invest in education, in health, and in our infrastructure. So we are blessed with these opportunities, and they are all captured in the manifesto, which you would acquaint yourself with. It's a wonderful piece of work, and I think that you'll be proud of what we've put in place. This is consistent with our sovereignty projects build up. To be independent is not about wielding power in terms of the guns you carry. It's also building institutions. Sometimes when you start building these institutions, people are like, well, The people who started the electric car, the belt, little boxes, sometimes we describe them as washing machines. Those were prototypes. Before you open your eye, there is Tesla that is dominating, the electric car industry and the motor vehicle industry. Every giant begins with a little step. And so it is very important that we embrace the things that we are doing. We should not be awashed by the finality of what others have achieved. If we do not embrace, our own prototypes, our own experiments, we will go nowhere. We will become consumers in the world. Every other person will produce and will be buying. So Amazonians should embrace their educational system, which we have put in place through community schools. You should embrace the sovereignty agricultural projects, embrace the sovereignty health projects that we are putting in place. This is what you call independence. You can't rely on the enemy for your energy, rely on them for your ID, rely on them for provision of health, rely on them for knowledge, rely on them for internet, rely on them for everything, and you get up the next morning, you are talking about independence. Makes no sense. Independence is not simply carrying guns alone. It's what the opportunity the guns provide you. And guns are designed to create the spaces within which you can develop these sovereignty projects. My fellow Amazonians, La Republique is bankrupt. As I said the other time, it spends 45% of its GDP in severing its debt. And I'm not talking about paying the actual debt, but paying interest in the debt. It cannot be redeemed. It is a country heading to total collapse. And we should be prepared for the kind of civil war that will create movements of peoples and create the kind of insecurity that will not only affect Amazonia, but people across the globe. We are informed that they have postponed municipal and parliamentary elections, which they have always rigged because they lack monies to organize these elections. If you lack money to print papers, you can imagine these are the people who want to reconstruct Amazonia. They don't have monies to organize elections. Elections which, of course, they always rig, so they don't need a lot of investment. Our economic sabotage, bankrupting Cameroon has been very successful. We must continue to make sure that we staff them of resources, of opportunities, of the ability to extort and rip Amazonia of its own opportunities. This is part of our resistance. We should reclaim our country through our actions, through our words, through our posture, through our composure. If independence must mean independence, we must act as though we are free. Thank you for today. I will be coming back to you in the coming days. This week is pregnant, and I am definitely very sure the baby will be a bouncing baby. God bless you all.
Eritrea was free, so shall Amazonia. Amazonia. Ho, 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 must be liberated. Namibia was free, so shall Amazonia. Amazonia. Ho, ho, must be liberated. South Africa was free, so shall Amazonia. Amazonia. Ho, ho, must be liberated.